Visit careerswithmios.com. Time to head to the Rude Guest Hotline. Say good morning to John Keim, ESPN's Commanders reporter.
Mm-hmm.
John, Merry Christmas. How are you?
JK.
Merry Christmas, guys. How are you guys?
JK, are you doing your Christmas celebration with your family today?
No, we kind of have we had a bit of a makeshift when we had to do it. Christmas Eve night, I had one son who could only be in town until about 5:30 last night, and he couldn't get in till Christmas Eve. So it was a pretty quick, abbreviated one. So we kind of mixed it up a little bit Christmas Eve and a little bit Christmas morning. So There you go.
Very good.
Now,
all good.
Will you go over to the park today for any interviews?
No, there's nothing today.
Okay,
nothing.
good.
I'm at home working in the office. So
all right, good.
I've been watching film this morning already.
Oh man,
always on the grind.
Lucky you.
So yesterday, Josh Johnson gets the start. He gets the nod,
Right.
and he was decent. He wasn't bad. I mean, he didn't throw any touchdowns, but he took care of the ball. Was only sacked once. Threw for almost 200 yards in the game. Like we were talking about this earlier, he's not the reason this team lost this game.
No.
Talk about Johnson and the fact that he was tabbed to get the start over Jeff Driscoll, who was brought in late last week.
Well, I mean, they chose Johnson over Driscoll long ago because remember, Driscoll was here last year and then was still unsigned going into camp. So, or around that time. So, and these guys had signed Josh already. So, they had made that choice, so to speak, a while ago. And I know, Driscoll, my understanding at the time was looking for a place where he could compete for the number 2 job, and then that didn't materialize. But he'd been in the offense all year, so it made sense that he would start. It'd just be hard to bring in a guy with 1 day, 1.5 practices, and then give him the start. So I think that was always kind of what made the most sense, and he's, again, been in the system. So his experience is always what people kind of latch onto.
Mm-hmm.
He has not been a great quarterback, but to last as long as he has and to play for as many teams as he has, it's kind of remarkable.
It's admirable. He's an NFL. He's the ultimate NFL survivor. It's kind of the way I look at him.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
It's a good story.
It's like in case of emergency, break glass.
Right.
And not whether it's as a backup, whether it's whatever, he can go do it, and that takes a lot. I know he's not this great quarterback, but that takes a lot to survive that way. He's only started 10 times. As he said, he's certain guys like Taylor Heineke was a starter for a little while, and now he's out of the league. So and the only point is it's hard to stay in this league in his role for that long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting, and it's just surprising that Dallas only won the game by touchdown. They ran 87 plays to 41 for Washington.
I was thinking that too. That you would have thought that this was a major blowout, and they gave up 23 points or they scored 23 points and not a whole lot of plays. I mean, that was staggering, the difference in the amount of plays. I mean, it was I think it was 19 more than anybody has run against them this season.
Right.
I'm watching guys at defensive tackle who are who is this guy? Because he just got here, Shy Tuttle, other guys like that. It was not ideal for them, but Dallas's defense isn't very good.
No.
And I think that kind of contributes to it. But yeah, I mean the difficult part of it for Washington is you had 2 shots inside the 5 on 2 different drives that touchdowns were there, and I mean he Johnson even admitted on the one, Terry McLaurin runs a route, he's got to sell the he's going to kind of fake block on the backside or just kind of stagger off the backside like it's a run, right, to match play action, and the safety bites on it, but then Josh doesn't stay with it long enough, and that's one where it's is that an experience thing where it's okay, you've got to trust that McLaurin's going to win on that route because he does.
And it was a touchdown. There was a touchdown if he throws it.
It's a touchdown if he throws it. Yeah. But that's you haven't played much with him. And then you learn that you got to stick with him. That, but that's the hard part.
Correct.
Hey, John, we had a call late last week from a trucker that was listening to the show in Georgia that had an encounter with basically a church van packed with Commanders fans at a truck stop. It was Bill Krosky Merritt's like grandma and a bunch of family members road tripping up to see the game, and what a performance he puts on for them. 11 carries, 105 yards. He scores 2 touchdowns,
72-yarder.
That's 72-yarder. I mean, a really good performance by him. And look, I know he's not a superstar, but for a guy who was drafted in the 7th round, that was basically an afterthought for a lot of NFL teams. He's putting together a pretty solid rookie campaign.
I mean, he's going to have over 800 yards in his rookie year.
It is. It's funny because even in training camp, like you saw little signs, and we talked about this at the time. And not that he hasn't become a superstar. He's a 7th-round pick who's got around 800 yards. Like that's really good.
Right.
And so he shows a lot, and I think both of his touchdowns show something because the first one he breaks a tackle and he finds his way to the end zone. Like he's got a little bit of a nose for that, and I always liked that he runs violently, but he gets extra yards because he's leaning forward on contact. I think that's something he's gotten even more consistent on. You saw that against the Giants a couple weeks ago, where he's knocking guys. The linebacker tries to stone him, and he's still pushing forward for 5 more yards. And then on the touchdown, like you saw, he ran as fast, and it was on Next Gen Stats, 21.62 miles per hour. That's the fastest any Washington ball carrier, whether it's punt return, anything like that, has run this season. So you see that side of him too. Now, there was really good blocking in that play, but he takes it from there. And so you saw that too. I think the key for him will be, 1, improve ball security, and then 2, just continue to get better in pass protection. I mean, he's, that's something that Cliff Kingsbury will talk a lot about, and I know that Krosky Merritt feels a lot more comfortable in that area. But that's also like the one where what are the 2 steps to keep going? Well, those would be 2 of them. But he's been a remarkable story, and I know it's not like every game he's not having these great numbers, but he has done a really good job, for sure. And I mean, keep in mind, like he only played 1 game at a high D1 level, and then he missed. You know what I mean? Like it's really, really a good story.
Yeah, and it was cool to watch. On the flip side, we talked about time of possession, and Dallas had 38-21 over Washington time of possession. If you look at overall defensive statistics, Washington's next to last in yards allowed. The only team worse is the Bengals. Against the pass, the Bengals, Steelers, Colts, and Cowboys are the only teams worse. And I was going to ask you about the secondary and your thoughts on the secondary, especially after that Turpin touchdown where Sanderstill and Quan Martin get beat.
Well, on that one, Sanderstill, I won on that one. I think the play design was really good because they have CeeDee Lamb going down the left side. So you got a split safety. So you're occupying Sanderstill. So you've got to get deep. It looked like an inverted Tampa 2 coverage. So you got to carry down the middle. But
so it was a good play design.
It was a good play design, good right guys in it, and just poor execution.
Gotcha.
So it's a combination of things, right? Because even on the other side, they had Pickens occupying the other where there would have been a safety on that play, but a corner, but you know what I mean?
Right.
The safety position. So, but they need help.
I was going to say your thoughts on the secondary in general. And how many of those guys you think will be starters this year or next year that were starters this year? Not many.
No, Trey Amos. I think that's the one guy you can count on.
Yep.
And then I think you're going to need, like, I remember talking to somebody early in the year from other teams, like they need safeties. And I think you're going to go into the offseason like thinking like that, right? So I would get a little bit more help there. We all know like Caleb Downs is going to be in the draft. Is that a guy that they take or not? I mean, that's certainly a guy that you put on the list of potential players, depending on what you do in free agency. Listen, man, they need guys on defense all over.
Yeah, I know.
You need some impact guys on that side of the ball, and and so are you going to get them in the front 7? You look at Minnesota. Minnesota wreaks havoc with their front. It's not about the secondary; it's about the front. And that's, like you looked at their corners or safeties, like there's nothing remarkable. Harrison Smith has been a really good player, but not at this point. But it's what they do in the front 7, what they do with under Flores is terrific. And that helps them look better. So you can do things to help there, but you still need guys to make plays. And I think that's what you definitely need some more. I mean, they only have, like, for the corners, it's Amos and then Sanderstill. And, so I think Sanderstill is going to go in there with obviously a chance to start, but you still need to get more there. You absolutely need to get more there.
Johnny Newton was a demon yesterday. 9 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback hits. Like, are we going to see more of this heading into 2026? Like, he's got to have an expanded role, I would think, especially if Deron Payne isn't on the roster next year. Did you see this sort of performance coming for Johnny Newton yesterday?
Well, I know some people there did, because that's what I would hear. There's just that, someone told me a couple weeks ago, like, hey, his time is coming. And, because he would flash, right? He'll flash every so often,
right.
You just see it, and then you don't. But they had maintained just how much more consistent he'd been getting with his leverage, et cetera, et cetera. He's not, and, Dan Quinn talked about it a couple weeks ago too, about like, he's better when he's shaded off the lineman, right? So, and you see that a lot more. But I mean, there's still a ways to go. And it's still, I think, like, how is he best used? And even like yesterday, going back and I watched all of his tackles already. And there are times where it's like, okay, lineman gets you, but he gets off the guy and it's 5-yard gain. But then what really to me jumps out is that I would almost call it like secondary quickness. So off the ball, he may not beat you, but when it starts going lateral, he's going to out-quick you, right? And I think that's how he made a couple stops that way, got a couple sacks that way, where it's like that effort and staying after, but then that next step quickness is where he gets you. So I think that's where you can see, can he be more of an impact guy that way? And then I'd like to see, like, what does it look like for him if they can get like a good edge rusher, right? And then just how does that work with him if you have those two guys that have some higher level of quickness, how that could look with stunts in some games, et cetera. So, I don't know that he's going to be like he's not going to be this major run stopper. It's just he's going to be a guy that I think can get after the passer a little bit as he progresses. So, but that's what you see. Like, your multiple of the sacks came with the second effort and then that next step quickness where it's like not stoned, but like you're not beating the guy right off the ball and go, boom, there it goes, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like that, but it's like, blocked a little bit, but getting off because you read it, and then you just have the quickness laterally to get by him.
Yeah. We were talking about
he has to improve against the run overall still, and that'll be something for him going forward, but you can see the ability to contribute more. Right.
We were talking about the primetime games and the standalone games that Washington had this year, and they had a ton of them.
Gross.
They lost both their Thursday.
Next year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So they went 0-8 in those games this year, if you include the Madrid game, the Thursday night games, the Monday night games, yada yada yada. But obviously, the networks, they don't know about injuries. And
right, of course.
So, but what do you think is going to happen next year when the networks look at this team and go, you know what, man, we got screwed with these Commander games in the prime time?
Yeah, well, it depends. First of all, it depends what happens in free agency. What do they do there? Because that's always going to be like, are they going to become this hot team and say, all right, well, if Jaden Daniels is healthy and they've got this guy and that guy, they could be fun to watch. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're going to get 8 games next year. I think we're going to have a few more 1:00 games, but you still got to put them in some primetime games just because, like, what if Jaden Daniels comes back and is healthy and they're really looking good again? Do you want to miss that train, right? And so I think you'll certainly get some primetime games, especially early, just in case, right? So I think you could see that you still have to, because of Jaden Daniels, and it's, again, you can't assume injuries. So with him, if he's good, if he's back and healthy, and they get 1 or 2 more pieces, like, why not? But you're not going to get 8. You just that was based on them thinking obviously they're very good and you have this exciting offense. But I would still think you're going to get a few just because of that. What if? And then it is like, people, a year ago, the kid was the next big star, and it's injuries that set him back. So, I think so. Yeah, I would expect some, but not like this. This was quite a bit, and if it was a series, it would have been canceled.
Yeah, if I know you don't know this because it's the day after the game, we've got a whole nother week, but against Philadelphia to finish out the regular season, do you expect Marcus to start, or do you think it's going to be JJ again?
That I don't know, and it sounds like the quad was a bigger issue than the hand, which he had. Like he said, he had 6. I think it was 6 stitches in his hand.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't even know that they know. But yeah,
I mean, and Philadelphia's not going to play any of their players.
No, so yeah, no.
That's gonna be so ugly.
All right, John.
Another preseason match.
Yeah, exactly.
We appreciate the time as always. Have fun grinding that film, rewatching the game, as I know you're going to do. So we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas to you too, man. It's John Keim from ESPN.